Hello everyone, I am Gareth here from WhatCulture.com, sat in front of the world's most lovely curtains. I think you will agree, they look pretty good. But we're here right now to talk about one thing, and one thing only. That is not my curtains, it is Joe Rogan, why Joe Rogan is leaving YouTube. So Rogan's been producing this podcast for over a decade now at this point, and he's pretty much become the unofficial king of the podcast, hasn't he, really? It obviously started out in its early days as just a few stoned friends having a bit of a natter, really, about just everything that was going on in their lives and in the world. And it's now evolved into this long-form format pop culture phenomenon, really. You get some of the biggest stars on the planet all just loving coming into the studio and having a chat with Joe for 2 or 3 hours and just drinking whiskey and shooting the breeze, which is great. It's made it one of the biggest shows on the planet right now. So you could say there is an argument around whether it is the biggest show, but it's undoubtedly the biggest podcast on the planet right now. And probably some of your favorite podcasts that you have and that you tend to go to, your go-to podcasts, they probably were inspired by Joe's incredible work that he's been doing for the last 10 years. If you check out his YouTube channel, which you probably already have, it's got 8 million subscribers, and then the total number of downloads that each podcast, the podcasts over the month get, it's well into the hundreds of millions. It's insane. So the news that Spotify came out Rogan and said, there we go, we want you on our platform, we'll give you all this money, just come over to us, be exclusive to us. It really makes sense. It's a no-brainer, really. Rogan's already a pretty successful guy. He's obviously got his career as a UFC commentator and he's a really successful comedian. But if the rumors are true and he was offered around $100 million for the exclusive rights of the Joe Rogan Experience to go over to Spotify, then it's a really good financial decision for him as well. But I think the big question is, why has he chose to leave YouTube behind now, at this point? Why does he feel like the time is right now to just take this deal that's been handed to him? Well, it's probably been a long time coming, in a way, because I think one of the main reasons that the show isn't broadcast live anymore, if rumors again are to be believed, is because of repeated copyright claims against certain videos. That means they've had to be taken down, so they've had to be really careful with what they're putting out there, which isn't really Rogan's style. He likes to say things how it is. He doesn't like to be censored in any way, and we all know YouTube censorship it can be a bit hot and cold. There are times when a lot of content contributors don't feel like they have that control over their own work, and they have to really abide by what YouTube is telling them to do, really. So not only are there huge financial incentives for Rogan going over to Spotify, obviously he's going to get hundreds of millions of dollars and all the rest of it, he'll also be able to be a bit more uncensored and produce a show that he wants to properly do, and he's not going to be told by YouTube if he says a certain name or like breaches copyright or the rest of it, he's going to have a video taken down. That just won't happen with Spotify. Howard Stern did a very similar thing in 2006 when he moved his show exclusively over to SiriusXM because he just didn't want to feel like he was being restricted by a big commission that, didn't have his same points of view when it came to his show. So overall, the Spotify deal just gives Rogan a lot more money and a lot more freedom, so it makes sense. But one more big question is, what is in it for Spotify? Well, for quite some time, Spotify have been trying to get a foothold into the podcasting world, and they've been obviously signing up certain shows, but none anywhere near the size of probably the world's most influential podcast. So now they've got Rogan, they've pretty much got a flagship there. And although a lot of people will probably say that is a ridiculous amount of money just to pay one dude to sit there and have a chat with people over a table drinking whiskey, if you look at Spotify's shares right now, they're the highest they've been for the last 2 years since this news has been announced. So Rogan hasn't even recorded an episode yet, and he's already making Spotify more valuable as a company. So it just makes sense, right? Overall, it's definitely a great move for both parties, but you've got to admit it is going to be a little bit weird not seeing Rogan on YouTube. So that is why Joe Rogan is leaving YouTube. Let me know what you think about the comedy legend heading over to Spotify, and do not forget to like, share, click on the subscribe button and ring the bell while you're there. Also, be sure to head on over to whatculture.com and click on loads of brilliant articles that are there every single day. We get new ones on there all the time. I have been Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.